Bonsoir, Anouk. Bonsoir, Anouk. My microphone works just fine. It's picking up really loud. Let me turn it down a bit. It's actually halfway. Good afternoon. I sent you some documents. I did not send you this one, so let me send you this while we wait for people to come in. I'm sorry I'm late. I was getting organized. And I sent you almost everything, but you need this document. So I will number this document. I'm trying to figure out what number to give it in our collection. And it really should be 33, but I gave you a note for 33. So what should I call this? 32 continued. That's what I'm going to call it. 32 continued. It looks so bad. I'm just going to write it. I'm going to send it like this. Okay, so we're going to do this exercise together. So you can start. I'm going to send it to you. And then I will send you the solution. Good afternoon. So we're ready to begin. I want to try this exercise together because this does cover, it's like a summary of everything we did with WAC, with computing WAC. So shall I give you a little bit of time to read this? I just sent you a copy if you want the copy yourself. And then once we're finished, I'll send you the solutions. Okay, so I'll give you, let's read this together. NC Core has long-term 20-year to maturity debt with book value of $736 million. So it's a levered firm, right? It has debt. It also has preferred stock of 1 million shares with a book value of $100 million, and has common equity $44 million shares with book value of this is really $1 billion, or 1,421 million. The interest on its debt is about $72 million per year with annual payments, and the debt is currently worth this amount. This is the price of each bond. Preferred shares are presently selling for $85 per share and pay a constant dividend of $6 per share. Common shares paid a dividend of $4 per share this year and sell for $32 per share. The common dividend is expected to grow at a rate of 5% per year. The income tax rate for NC Core is 50%. So the question is, what is the WACC for this company, the corporation? So we need to get all these pieces. So this is where we ended off last class, and now I'm giving you an example to try. So this will encompass everything you've learned to this point in terms of valuation. And our goal is to find the cost of capital, known as the average cost or weighted average cost of capital for this corporation. So what I'm going to do is divide up the answer into preferred stock, and we want to get SP, SC, and B. And preferred stock are shares that have higher value than common stock. Preferred stock holders are promised a first cut as residual claimants. They are considered first claimants after creditors are paid their interest payments. So preferred stockholders also they have a priority over common stockholders, and sometimes a commitment in dividends that will be paid. Okay, so we need to get these calculations. Actually, I'm going to separate the page to compute preferred stock information. So this is the cost of equity, and this is the market value of outstanding stock. And then I'm going to calculate here the return to common stock. So this is the cost of equity for common stock, and then the market value. And then over here, I'm going to calculate information on debt, the value of outstanding debt, and the return, after tax cost of debt. We'll do that. All right. So this is what we'll be doing. You have some information about preferred stock. Preferred shares are presently selling for $85 per share and pay a constant dividend of $6 per share. What else do we know? We have this information up here about preferred stock. There's 1 million shares outstanding with a book value of $1 million. So let me begin by highlighting that information. So preferred stock, actually I'll use a highlighter. That didn't work. So preferred stock, we need that information, and then down here, we need that information. Oh, and here too, of course. Okay. Are there any questions about what we're doing? We're going to solve this together, okay? So what is the book value of the preferred shares? So what does it say? So in terms of shares issued, the book value is $100 million. And there are 1 million shares outstanding. And what about the market value? Right? This amount here, this should be the market value. That's what I really want. Well, the market value, you're told that you're told about the market value per share. The market value per share, if you see here, $85 per share. Everybody's with me so far? Okay. And now what we want, oh, this is for preferred. What did I just do? I put it in the wrong column, didn't I? Let me move that over. This is for preferred. I don't know why I put it there. I'm going to erase this here. This is the information for preferred shares, so it should be here. And then we also have the information about the dividend. The dividend is $6 and it's constant per share. So the dividend is perpetual, it's every period. So what does that mean to us? It means recall the present value, the price of stock is equal to the, if you assume that cash flows or returns, dollar returns are perpetual, so forever you're going to get C1, it's constant. If that's what is the case, then all you have to do is divide by the required rate of return, right? So this is what we're going to use, but we're going to solve for this instead. We're going to solve for the cost of equity. So how do we do that? Well, we have the price is here, and we have the cash flow for the payments, that's here. So that means that the return to preferred stockholders is just $6 divided by $85. What do you get? Good afternoon. I'll let you calculate something for me. Calculate for me, please. So it's $6. Looks a little messy on there. Let me clean that up. $6 and so the return is, remember, if your screen is blurry, just refresh. I don't know why it's blurry. Why is it blurry? Anyway, it looks like blurry on mine. Maybe it's not on yours. All right. What you get? What's the return to, you got a number for me? Very good. Yes, 7.058. Very good. Thank you. Now you should store this because we're going to need it and we want all the decimal places. So you should store this in store 1. Okay, so I'm going to move this over. I'm going to move this over here. So you remember how I did that. I'm going to erase this to make space because we're getting ready for the next column. So what did we find so far? What we found is the return. So we got this. And what is SP? Does anybody know? SP is the value of outstanding stock, preferred stock. So the information is here. Does anybody know what it is? Français, Anouk, Samuel, Harry, Yevlin, Morlin, Michael, Ulrich, Saver, Kenold, anyone? Can you tell me? What is the value, market value of outstanding preferred stock? I will highlight that we have this one already. We have this already, so let me highlight that. So we have the book value, and we have the number of shares, and we have the market value per share is $85 for each share, but there are 1 million shares, so that makes the market value what? So it's going to be $85 per share. Times the total number of shares So what's the total number of shares? It's 1 million, so let's put that in. So this is $85 million. So that's SP. So we're done. Okay? Next. Now let's look at common stock. what is the information given? Let me finish here. So any questions about preferred stock? Okay, so let's look at common stock. I'll erase what I have here. Okay, let's highlight for common stock now. Okay, common equity. So here's common equity. 44 million shares with a book value of $1 billion. And then common shares paid a dividend of $4 and sell at $32 per share. They grow at 5%. All right. So with that information, identify RC and SC. I'll give you some time. So that's the cost of capital, cost of equity for common stock. And this is the market value of outstanding common stock. Doing the same thing we did before. Let's get the book value. We're told the book value is 1,421 million, or in other words, 1.4 billion. And there are 44 million shares. Common makes them, much more common. See, there's only 1 million preferred, but there's many. 44 million common shares. So then, what's the market value per share? You're told they're $32 a share. So market value per share is equal to $32. So they're less valuable. Because they're common, they're not preferred. They don't have any special privileges like the preferred ones do. So they're less valuable. Now what's next? All right, so what are we told about the dividend? It's $4 per share this year and sells for $32 per share. But then you're told this information here about the growth rate. Okay, so these are perpetual cash flows to shareholders, but they are growing at a constant rate. So we know how to value that. We know how to deal with that. Well, ask me questions. You want to ask me questions? Maybe I'll finish the delivery and you can ask me questions. I'm not sure why you can't write them in the chat, but if you want to ask me, we can do a discussion. I can invite you into Teams. Do you guys have, can you download Microsoft Teams? And we can have a discussion there. What is your question exactly, Mordan? I'm just reading the information that's in front. So I can invite you to Microsoft Teams and we can meet there. But what I can do is, I think I'll finish this exercise and then we'll try that, okay? I'll meet you in Teams. I'm not sure what the difference of speaking and texting are, but if it makes a difference, we can meet in Teams. Type your question here. So, what is what we need next is to determine the return to common stock. And in this case, we have information about a growing perpetuity of dividend payments. So we know about that formula where the price would be equal to the first cash flow over I minus G, right? So now let's try and use this formula. What's the price? The price is, it sells for $32 per share. So that would be the price. And the first cash flow, well, it says that this year it was $4. So this year is not included in our consideration. We need next year. That's what this subscript tells us, the next period. So that's going to be $4 with 1 period of growth. And then what I want is this. This is the rate, or this is the required rate of return, or the cost of equity for common stock, minus G that we are told is 5%. And from here, you can solve for RC. So solve for it and let me know what you get. And let me know if you have any questions. I'm waiting. So solving here, this looks like the dividend growth model, if you remember. So that will give you your answer. You just ask me the questions. I can slow down. I'm proceeding so that you have something to review when we're done, but I can slow down. Samuel got something. Let's see. Does anyone concur with Samuel's calculations? So I also get the same result as Samuel, that RC, the return to equity of for common shareholders, is 0.18125. Very good. Okay, so we're making progress. Let me write it as a percentage, just to keep it in line with what I did above on the other side, on the left-hand side. So it's 18.125%. I don't have to store that because it's this one is a long decimal answer, and this one is short with no more decimal places. So I'll just check that off. So that's done. The next question I'm going to ask, very good, Harry, is what is the value of common stock outstanding? Market value. Well, there are 44 million shares, and the market value per share is 32 million. Sorry, what am I saying? $32 per share, and there are 44 million. So the value would be market value SC is equal to $32 per share multiplied by 44 million shares. Don't let the M's bother you, they just mean millions. It adds 6 zeros after the number 44, but it's easier to write M. So what do you get? A billion, right? It'll be 10408 million. Good. So it wasn't so bad. We made it so far. I believe there's just several small problems inside a big problem. So we're just here it's just the regular perpetuity. Here it's just algebra and understanding what the information is that you've been given. And here we use the growing perpetuity. So the same thing here, we just use the information given. So you guys can do this. Now, let me see. Can I leave you with this one and see where you get? I'll give you 5 minutes and see how far you get with this one. So for the after-tax cost of debt and the debt. Let me transfer the information first and then give you those 5 minutes. So let's see. Let me erase the highlighted information. Now we're going to look for information on the debt. All right, so what do we have? Okay, 20-year to maturity debt with book value of $736 million. What else? Interest on debt is $72 million per year with annual payments, and the debt is worth this amount. Is that everything? Oh, and I need the tax rate, which is 50%. Wow. So the corporate tax rate is 50%. Well, as I said, this is the perpetuity formula. I'm just using different symbols. This is perpetuity formula that I've inverted to find this. This is algebra with the perpetuity formula. This is just the market value of stock. You have to practice. I'm sorry, I can't put this in your minds. It's just practice. This is the growing perpetuity formula that we've already seen, and I solved for this variable. It's all things that you've seen. You'll have to review. So now let's try this together. This is debt. So what do you know about debt? What do you know about bonds? All this information is provided. What's the book value of debt? So this is what's recorded. The book value of debt. You're told that in accounting, your debt is $736 million. And how many bonds are there? So maybe you need to know that the book value is the face value of the bond multiplied by the number of shares, bonds. What's the face value of a bond? Do you remember? what's the face value of a bond? Well, we're told that the face value is 1,000. So here you have the face value is 1,000. You can determine how many bonds there are. So you're asking for steps, and all I'm doing is steps. These are exactly what I'm doing. This is the book value, and then the number of assets or number of securities. Then I did the market value. Then I did the attempt to find the return, the cost of equity. And then I do the steps to calculate the market value of equity. That's what I did here with common equity, and now I'm doing the same with bonds. So if you just follow along, you can review this later, because I will send you the solution set. So this is the face value of debt. So how many bonds are there? Harry, why do you have 20 times? Oh, okay. Yeah, erase that. Samuel says 1,000. Is that correct? No. Anik has got it. So there is $736 million of debt outstanding. Each bond has a face value of 1,000, and you multiply that by the number of bonds to get this. So all you have to do is a calculation of 736 million divided by 1,000 to find the number of bonds. The number of bonds is 736,000. Anouk is right. So I'm going to take 6 zeros and get rid of 3, so that just leaves 3. Oops. So it's 736 bonds, 1,000 bonds. Okay, so and divide this up. Clean this up a bit. Are you ready for the next part? Now I'm going to ask you to find RB. Very good. So you should feel like you're learning something right now, although you know this material. I'm doing this exercise because it encompasses everything you've learned. It's very comprehensive. So I'm walking you through this. So let's see, what's the information on the debt? Do we have this number already? Do we have the cost of debt? This is the yield to maturity on the bond. No, but we do have information on the interest payments. And we do have information on the price. So I'm going to tell you something that you didn't realize before, what to do with this information. Here you have the interest on debt. The annual interest on debt is 72 million. if you take the 72 million, very good, you guys are getting the number of bonds, which is good. 736,000, right? Okay, so from what I just said, oh, I need to mention the market value first, because before I get to that, let's do the market value, and then I'll get to that. Because that's what I did in the other exercises, right? So the market value is 834.18 per bond. So that's per share. Market value per share per bond is equal to 800, and I have to go and check again, 834 $834.18. And then the interest payments, you're told, amount to $72 million. Remembering that interest payments are, more specifically the coupons, you can estimate the coupon rate. So this is new, right? Everything else is old. You've done all of those things before. This is new. The coupon rate is just the interest paid over the book value of the debt. I should spell it all out in case you don't see what I'm doing here. This is interest paid So what is the coupon rate? So we're going to take coupons, right? They're the interest paid. And the rate would be the interest paid relative to the book value. So what do you get? I'm going to highlight this because this is something you might not have realized because we haven't done this before. Okay, Samuel saying, no, this is the bond price. This is the price per bond. Okay, this is the selling price of the bonds, although they have a face value of of 1,000. Remember, this is a discount bond because there are coupons, and the coupons are not enough to pay the interest the yield to maturity that's implicit in the bond. So we're going to find the coupon rate. So this is new. I put asterisks around because this is something you haven't done before. And once we get that, we can solve for the yield to maturity. So the coupon rate would be, the interest paid would be 72 million, and then divide by the book value. You guys are doing good. You're thinking this through. And what do you get for the coupon rate? So step by step, this question does take a long time when you're learning, but once you figure this out, you won't have so much difficulty. Very good. You guys got some calculations. So you calculated that the coupon rate is 9.783%. What do I do with that? What can I use that for? This is my coupon rate. So then I know the payment every year is equal to 1,000, the face value, times the rate. So that means that the payment is equal to 90. Sorry, I had to sneeze. $97.83. So we're figuring out, we want to find the cost of debt. We want to find the yield to maturity on the bond. We have the payment. We have the face value. What else do we have? Let's work through this. So we need to put into N, we have 20 years. We were told it's a 20-year bond. And then the interest is what we want. So we want to find I by Y. I'm just working with the row, the TVM keys on your calculator. So that's the interest. And then the PV is the price, $834.18. Is it 16? Some people wrote 16. Let me see. Is it 16 or 18? It's 18. Okay. So that's the price. And then the payment is I will just round this, $97.83, because payments are made in cents, dollars and cents. So that will round to $97.83. And then the face value is 1,000. Now, just one error I made is that the price should be a negative. Okay? And what do you find? So let me write out the expression for this. The formula that you should put in a test situation is So this is going to be overwhelming if you aren't caught up. I'm using everything you've learned so far to solve this long exercise. And you should review it and understand it completely before next week or before tomorrow, so you can ask me. All right, so what is RB? So notice I'm not using the I, I'm using the symbol that corresponds to the notation in this unit or this section of the course. Very good, Samuel. So RB is, you can ask your calculator to compute, and you do get 12.00345. Now there's more decimal places, so store this in number 2. And I'm going to put a box around it because we're done. The last thing to do is find B, so I'll let you catch up. And those who have already done this, very good, Anouk, very good. Error Alain, because you didn't put a negative here on payment, the present value. Negative, and then these ones are positive. That's why you got an error. Very good, Harry Charles. Very good. So store that number in 2. Very good. So if you've done that now, find the market value of debt. That will be the market value of debt of a bond per bond. The price of a bond, in other words, times the number of bonds would be the market value of outstanding debt. Okay, so let's see. So there are how many bonds? 736,000, right? So there are 736,834.18 per bond times 736,000, and that equals the total market value of debt. So what do you get? I get 613,956,480, and that is B. So all of these calculations that we've made that are in red, boxed in red, need to be used to find WACC. It might be easier for you to put all of this in Excel so you can look at all the numbers together, or you could put them in storage. You could put all the values in storage if that's helpful. Maybe you prefer to do it in Excel so you can see everything at once. So let me take each of these. I'm going to take each of these boxes. Well, maybe not. Let's see if I can make this bigger. So we have that. And then I need this. Okay, then I need the return to common stock. And then I need okay, this is all I need. I need those results. And here I need these two as well. And finally, debt. You watching me? You checking my answers, which is fine with me. Verify what I'm doing. So there you go. So those are all the component parts. You have the cost of cost of equity, preferred equity, cost of common equity, cost of debt. You have the market value of preferred stock, market value of common stock, and the market value of debt. And now I'm going to take the formula, because we finished all of this. And now I can take the formula with me. To the other side. So this is it. So I put all the calculations. I will share all those with you. So I leave it to you to put it all together. Very tedious, but a worthwhile exercise. It's worth doing once. Okay, so half the class is over. Well, anyway, we did start late, but all right. So let's see if you guys can put this together and give me a result, and then I'll email you the right answer. Maybe you need 10 minutes to plug it in. And write in the chat if you have any questions. All right, so I'm going to start. You haven't asked any questions. I'm just going to start entering the information, all right? So first, I'm going to refer to this as the value of the firm. So the value of the firm is equal to 613,956,480. Oh, sorry, I'm going to do SP first. I want to do it in the same order. So SP was 85 million. Plus SC is 1,408,000,000. And then debt is 613,956,480. And when you put those all together, the firm is valued at $2 billion. $2,106,956,480. So I would recommend storing this in your calculator, or like I said, do this in Excel, because you're going to repeatedly enter that number. And finally, putting it all together. The weighted average cost of capital is, you could say recall 1, but I'll write the numbers here. So 7, I can use the decimal version, 0.0705885. Use the the decimal value times 85 million divided by V. I'm just going to write V. So that's the first part. Then common stock is 0.18125 times for common stock, it's a billion, right? 1,408 million. These are in dollars. Divided by V. And then finally for debt, it's the rate that was calculated $956,480 divided by V. Oh, what did I miss? I missed, let me do that again. I missed the 1 minus TC. After tax cost of debt. where TC is 50%. So we multiply by 0.5. And that is what you have to calculate. Nope, you just have to use TC. You don't have to consider the number of years. It's all taken care of. So this is per dollar invested, right? The weighted average cost of capital per dollar invested. I'm going to move this over a little bit. 0.5. TC is 50%. It's in the case, if you look back here. So I think the best, because this is so long, it's better in Excel, so you don't have to re-enter values in your calculator. But if you were to pursue professional certification in finance, you probably have to use your calculator on any kind of examination, so you'd have to practice that. But I'm fine with this class. You can use Excel. But you should practice with the calculator as well. TC is the corporate tax rate. Okay, so you have some answers for me. Good. I get 14%. So what did you do wrong? 14%. So the answer should be around 14%. It depends how many decimal places you kept, if you kept all of them or not. Okay, so you can review that. I'll send you the key so you have a nice neat copy, and I will take any questions you have. Any documents you want me to review, please let me know. So then we would use this. Harry got a little bit higher. I think it's too high, Harry. So then you would use this in valuation of projects, right? This would be the discount rate that the firm should use. This is the required rate of return for investing in this firm. Okay, so take a screenshot. I'm going to change the page. So these exercises that I gave you are very similar. Same sort of computations that I expect you to make. Would you like to try this exercise, or do you have another one in mind? All right, you want to try this? So let me extract the first one. Which one do you want me to do? 1, 2, 3. Which one would you like? Good, Harry, that looks good. 14,145. That looks like a good number. Yeah. Good. Good job. Good job. All right. So which one of these would you like me to solve? Or do you have a preference or no preference? I can just pick one. Or do you have any questions in the exercise that we just did? Okay, yes. It's very important to write neatly so that you can see your work and look back at where you might have made a mistake. So are there any, do you prefer any of these problems? Do you want me to choose? Someone give me the go ahead. Questions? Number 2, français. Okay, number 2. Let's do this. All right, so let's see. This is going to look familiar to what we just did. So let's follow what we did before. Here you have information on prices and the number of assets, securities outstanding, and I've already computed their total value. So you have S and B, and you have their ratios. So this is the proportion of stock outstanding, and this is the proportion of debt outstanding relative to the value of assets of the firm. So you're told that the risk-free rate is 4% and the expected return on the market portfolio is 15%. So when you get information like this, you know this is going to feed into the capital asset pricing model. CanWest equity has a beta of 1.2, you see? So we're going to use that information to determine the return to equity, the common stock return. Its bonds have stated annual coupon rate of 13%. Coupons are paid semi-annual and the bonds mature in 6 years. CanWest pays a 45% corporate tax rate. And each bond has a face value of 1,000. So we begin with the expected return for CanWest equity. So let me So what we're going to begin with is use the capital asset pricing model to find the return to common stock, okay? Oh, this is document 32. Yeah, Harry. So if you use the capital asset pricing model, it says that the expected return to common stock is equal to a markup above the risk-free rate by an amount to compensate for the risk inherent in the stock, adjusting by the market risk premium, right? And the market risk premium, you are told, is what? Let's see. Well, you can calculate it because you're told this is 4%. You're told that beta is 1.2. The expected return on the market portfolio is 15%. And we already know this is 4. So when you put it all together, you can estimate the return to equity. So we assume CAPM holds. All right, what do you get? I get 17.2%. So that's answer A. So I use CAPM because they gave me information for it. Otherwise, I have no recourse. There's no information here to solve that. And so ready for the second part, B? So what about B, cost of debt? How will we figure that out? Let's read what information we have about debt. Okay. Coupons, stated annual coupon rate of 13%. Coupons are paid semi-annual and the bonds mature in 6 years. And you have face value of 1,000. And need to do this after tax, so we will have to use this tax rate. Corporate tax rate is equal to 0.45. So with the information given, you have a semi-annual coupon bond for 6 years. That means it's 12 periods. So we have to convert everything, right, to semi-annual periods. So let's see what we have. We know that the coupon rate is 13%, but we have to divide that by 2 because this is a stated rate. So we have to take that divided by 2, so it's 0.065, and then also it's 6 years or 12 semi-annual periods. Okay. All right, so I'm going to write the equation for the debt, and keeping in mind the price of a bond is $9.75. So the price is $9.75, which is equal to coupons, where the payment is 1,000 times the coupon rate, 0.065. In other words, $65. So the price is equal to the $65 every period for 12 periods, and the rate is what I want. But that's an annuity. I'm using the symbol, right? Rather than I use the symbol for the return to debt. And I want that for 12 periods. And then at the end, I get the face value back. There you go. So that's the equation that I'm going to solve with my calculator. So now using the financial calculator with 12 in N, and we don't put our B in, we want to find the interest rate, but we do put the price in, which is $9.75 as a negative, as the price, and then we put in the $65 payment to be received by bondholders, and that will be a positive. Oops. And then all that's left is the face value of 1,000. And then you ask to compute the interest rate. What do you get? So what do you get? Oh, good, you gave me answers. Let's see. Okay, so what you've solved is this equation, and you've got something like, something like RB equals 6.811. Very good. Now somebody tell me what that is. You know, it goes on and on. I'm going to store it in 1 because it's complicated. So this is expected, this is the effective periodic rate over half a year. That's what we found. It's not the RB that I need for my equation. It's not the return to debt that I need, or cost of debt. So this, I should maybe make a notation that this is the half-year rate. But if I put it up there, I'll put it down here. Anyway, I'll just put it here so you keep in mind that we're not finished. That's just for the semi-annual period. But now we have to convert this. To create a WACC, we need the annual effective rate. I'll make a note. Okay, so you need to convert that to the effective annual rate. So you might not have known that. So now we'll convert that. Make sure you have your values stored. So this is just the half-year rate for the formula. But now we have to convert. So how do we do that? 1 plus EPR 1/2 squared is equal to 1 plus EAR. So this is what we have to do. We have to take this rate and we need to square it and then take off the principal to find the RB. Let's do that. So you're going to put this into your calculator. To find the effective annual rate, which we will then call RB. Are you with me? I hope. So that was just the semi-annual rate. Now you have to convert it to an annual rate. So get it out of storage in your calculator. Very good, Samuel. And now you have the rate that you should store on top of the old one. Well, actually store it in 2 in case you make a mistake. So this will be 7.748%. So store that in 2. You might need it again. so that's the, we're still not done because we have to have the after tax, right? So we have to do after tax, so we need to do 1 minus TC times RB. So that's going to give us 1 minus TC, where the tax rate, remember, was 0.45. Remember up here, I gave you the tax rate. So 1 minus that is 0.55. Maybe to avoid confusing you, I'll just write it here. So finally, you have a number there? Good. I get that's how I get this 748, because this doesn't work, does it? This number is here. EAR is a different number. So let's do that to avoid confusing you, because I think I jumped that step in the notes. So let's put that in. So the final answer when you do this is 748. This is not right. Let's do this again. Step by step. So this is, let me do this. My body hurts from sitting on a chair. I need to be moving. All right, let's see. What I'm going to do is show you the calculator and do it together, okay? Someone commented. Okay, yeah, let's do this together. I erased everything because I made a compounding error. All right, so what I'm going to do is first punch in the information about the bond. So we begin with, let's clear TVM. And now I'm going to enter from left to right 12 periods. I'm leaving interest blank because that's what I want. And then the present value is 975 negative. No, I did that wrong. I did it wrong. Okay, start it all over. It's 12 into years or periods. Leave the interest rate blank, and then 975 negative into PV, and then the payment is 65, and the face value is 1,000. And then we ask for compute I, and I get this number, but that's not right. Did I do something wrong? Let's do this again. Second, clear TVM. So 12, and then PV is 975 negative, and payment is 65, and FV is 1,000. And then I ask to compute. There we go. So that's the first one that we got. Now I need to store that in 1, divide it by 100. So recall 1, I'm going to divide it by 100, so it's a decimal, and say equals, and store it again in 1, so override it. Then I'm going to add 1 to it, and I'm going to square it, and minus 1. That didn't work. Recall 1. And then I'm going to add 1, and I'm going to square it. There it is. And minus 1. And now multiply by 0.55. And that is the final answer. So I gave you the final answer before. I should have. So let me go back and write down these numbers. Let me go back. So recall 1, this was the value, the result of, this is the effective semi-annual rate for the bond. And then what I want to do is I want to find the annual equivalent rate. So I add 1 to it, and I square it, and minus 1. And this is the annual effective rate before taxes, but then I have to multiply it by 0.55 because that will be the after-tax rate. So I'm going to divide it by 0.55 and write this number down so you guys can see it. All right, so let me write it here. Oh, okay, thanks. All right, so this number, 14,087, is the result of this. Okay? And then what we want is the after-tax debt, which is 1 minus 0.45 times this 0.14087, and that gives you the final answer. So maybe that will help. So what do we have so far? Well, we answered B. So that's our answer. So this is the answer to B. This is the answer. What happened to A? Oh, this is the answer to A. And now C. So any questions of what I've done so far? Hang in there. So you have all the skills to do this. There's just maybe a few twists that I lose you on. Twists and turns. Let me know when to stop, okay? So this is the after-tax cost of debt, because per dollar of bonds outstanding, this is the required rate of return of bondholders. And because interest payments are tax deductible, this is really the equivalent. The whole amount after tax is the cost of debt. This is what the firm pays out for every dollar of bonds outstanding. All right, ready for C? How should we get the beta of debt? Any ideas? So how do we get the beta from this information on debt? We have the rate of return, and we know the cap M. So using the rate of return, we can calculate the beta. We did the opposite here. We used the beta to get the rate of return to equity. Now we're going to use the rate of return to get the beta of debt. So that will be part C. So I don't know how should I put this? Let's see. So C will be I'll just do C down here. So find beta B, that's the beta of debt. After tax. So using the cap M says that we can find the expected return so the notation looks a little bit different. Let me just write this. The expected return to any security is equal to the risk-free rate plus the beta of that security times the market risk premium. Stored this number in 1. Oh, maybe in 2. To replace, because we're going to need it again. And I leave this stored in 1 in case I made a mistake and I want to go back. So let me write it in notation and I'll do the calculations under. So what we're going to do, this is the cap M formula, right? So I'm going to use it for my situation where I have 1 minus TC RB equals RF plus the beta is what I want, the beta of debt after tax. After tax, this is how I write it in the notes, after tax. And then the market risk premium here. So let's put the numbers in. So this one is, oops, what happened? Uh-oh. I touched something. I don't know how to turn that off. Okay. It looks like my connection broke. Hold on. Okay, I lost the connection. Okay, so I started writing. So this is the notation. Let's put these numbers in. RF, we know RF from above. RF is here. 4%. Okay, so that's 4%. And the risk premium is 15 minus 4, 9%. And we know, we calculated the return to debt after tax. So we just put this number in here and then we solve for beta. So try it, let me know what you find. What's the beta? After tax beta. So what you found then is the risk associated with debt. So this reflects the sensitivity of bond returns to market returns. That's what the beta is. If the market improves by 1%, the bond returns they will be affected by beta. So you would put 0.07748 minus 0.04 equals divided by 0.09. That would be your beta. So these exercises are just practice, so you can practice these relationships and understand them. The fact that this doesn't seem exactly practical, well, you need to develop the tool and then see where it applies, right? This is the idea. You need to refine this tool, your use of this tool, the capital asset pricing model, in order to apply it. So what do you get? If I minus 4% from the thing on my calculator and divide by 0.09, so what was this? This was, times 0.55. So this was my result from before. So I'm going to subtract 0.4% and divide by 0.09, and I get a weird number. 0.41. So that's small, right? It's beta is small. It looks like the wrong number. Oh, because 15 minus 4 is not 9. Oh my goodness. Look at the mistakes that I make. It's not 9, it's 11. This is 11. Then it'll work. This is 11%. And now you'll get the answer. Alain, we can talk about the exam, but did you talk to the administration? Did you talk to Doran? Did you talk to Paul? You want to talk about what's on the exam, or you want to talk about the structure of the exam? Anyway, let's finish this exercise. Very good, Francette. Very good. I apologize for my error. So this is less than 1, right? It's much less than the market beta, which is 1. Oh, wait, you got 3.4? Wait, double check that, Francette. That's not it. It's 0.34. Verify. That would make it more risky than the market portfolio, which is not the case. Debt is less risky than the market portfolio. So that's the final answer there. Very good, very good. Now, Francette, just somehow you missed the decimal place. Very good. Okay, let's move to D. We can talk about the test after. Very good. Ready? Part D. Part D. Okay, now I'm going to go on to a new page. I will take this with me to a new page and we'll answer D. Wait a second. Let me erase this markup. I didn't want to do that. Oh, let me add in a new blank page. Okay, now we're on D. And D asks for the beta of assets. So now we have to get, so now we want the beta of assets. Beta of assets is equal to the weighted beta of the assets, right? So we're going to have stocks and bonds. So we'll start with the bonds. So the share of the value of assets times the beta of bonds, and I'm going to write after tax because that has to be there, and then weigh it by the beta of equity or stock. And we have all these numbers. We have, this one was given here, look, 1.2. We just calculated this one, and these two shares are up here. So can you do it and tell me what the answer is? I'm going to get some water. All right, how did you do? How did you do? So the B over B plus S, I already calculated this for you. And that's this number here. Now you should be able to do it yourself. but this is that number 566119 is that, and for equity it's 0.433881, and the beta we got from before, right? 0.34072. Point 340723. And the beta of equity is 1.2. And so then you get the beta of assets. What do you find? So I'll just show you these numbers. That's from there, that's from there, that's from the other page, and that's from there. So what you found is the sensitivity of the returns to the average investor in the firm to market performance or market returns. So this should be this is a weighted beta. And you expect it to be less than 1 because debt is much lower than 1. The debt beta. So when you put these numbers together, you get .713547. Now I'm doing these exercises with you, but you should be able to do these all on your own. You don't need me to help you with this. I introduced the theory, the concepts, and then you should be able to work out these problems. But I know your time is short, so hopefully by working with you on these exercises, it can help speed you along. Very good. It's not a percentage, Monsieur Severa. It's not a percentage. It is an index. This is beta. It's an index of sensitivity. Remember? So remember, it's the beta. It's the slope of the linear relationship between the returns to the average investor in this firm, and on the x-axis are the market returns. Everything's grouped. It's okay. It's a common mistake. And now, the last part. Compute with, now that you have the beta, you can compute the weighted average cost of capital using the CAPM. Remember what we're doing. We're mapping risk and return. Risk is on this axis with the beta, and return is on this axis with that expected return. I used I, right? And we have the SML, and this is RF, and this is their relationship. And I can map through here the security market line, beta's risk to return, to arrive on this line. So now use this beta here to compute the WACC, the expected returns. So lots and lots of calculations. So the last thing we do, and then I'll see about answering your questions. So the symbols sometimes, they look different. I make them look different. Sometimes I use RM, but don't let that throw you off. Just ask me. So what we have here is the mapping. I'm going to use CAPM to get the estimated measure of return from the level of risk. So I have this number. It is 0.713547, and this is going to be 11, right? That didn't change, and this is still 4, and that's it, and I can find my answer. So what do you get? So this is one way to solve it. The other way is, this is with cap M. And the other way is to use the weighted average returns, right? The weighted average cost of capital. And taking that together. But this should give you the same answer as this one here. You got something very good, 11%. So 11.849. Very good. Okay, so you have all the answers. It's we're repeating the same calculation. So by the time you get bored, you're gonna know that you've learned this, all right? You're gonna get bored because it's the same types of calculations, making you go round and round through this line. Either you go this way up or this way down, or you take two returns and you end up somewhere in between, okay? That's what you're practicing. You're practicing gymnastics around the security market line. Okay, so I'm going to introduce new material tomorrow. I think I sent you already the materials for it. If you have any questions on any of the materials I've already sent, please ask me. And if you want to talk about the test, you can tell me now. If you want to talk in teams, I can start tomorrow's class. Let's see if I can talk to some of you in teams. I'll invite you to a Teams talk before the class starts. Let's do that. So I will invite you guys to talk to me in a meeting in Teams. You don't have to come, but so Microsoft Teams. You should be able to download it without a charge at what time? I will set it up for our classes at 1, right? So at 12:45, I will invite you to a private conversation in Teams. I'll invite everybody. I think we need more time than that. Some people won't be able to make it, but we'll fill them in when we go to the class. Let's say 12:30. Oh, you need more time for the third assignment? Sure, I don't mind. I don't mind. It was supposed to be on Sunday. How many days do you want? Monsieur Sever? Sure, that's fine. For Monday night. Okay, I'll just say Tuesday at 11:59 p.m. Your classmates can thank you. The final test will be everything. Everything. And you can bring your materials with you to the test. papers and things, but the questions should be relatively basic, okay? Very basic. I just want you to review your materials and feel, and ask me about things you don't understand so I can clarify them. That's my goal of having us have a test at the end. Yeah, it can be Tuesday at 11:59 p.m. Okay? So shall we go? Unless you want to say something else, I'm going for dinner. Okay, very good, Samuel. You write me. Okay, so we'll meet tomorrow. I'll invite you to Teams if you want to talk to me. I'll have like my office hours in Teams. You can talk to me, ask me questions, and then we'll start the class at 1 in YouTube. And maybe it's difficult to make everybody happy. Yes, the final will be multiple choice. It will be 25 multiple choice questions. So we've used this last month to introduce the material, get you to practice, build your skills, practicing the theory with some practical problems. And I really want you to take it with you so you can see where it applies for you. So I'd like to have just a nice review test at the end of the basic basic concepts. All right, so I'm going to say good night. Bonsoir for good. And we see you tomorrow. Thank you, Francet, Samuel, Monsieur Severo. Bonsoir. Bye-bye.